And then last year, through that, years of work and throwing things at the wall, I was able to do a joint venture between Capitol Records and Universal Music Group and my label. And that came with some clarity for me because at that point I was able to sit down and look at the next 12 months. What did I want out of my life? I told myself I wanted to be in a different place because New York City kind of felt overly consuming. Most of the businesses in Clifton, and this is with all due respect to their husbands, because I'm sure they're involved financially and because they're dealing with their lives too. But 90% of the business in Clifton, if not 99%, are all women ran, owned, and operated.
Great, yeah.
That's the face of Clifton Forge. I was snooping around. I went downtown, our first Friday in the Forge, actually. It was our very first Friday in the Forge. We were downtown on Main, on Ridgeway, and Jenny, who owns Livy's Closet, her husband, Dave, had set up a game in the street, cornhole toss for the kids. And so my son wanted to play. And so he went out there, he's playing, and I'm hanging with him. And Dave introduced himself and told us, who he was and that his wife owned the business. So we're like, this was so sweet of you guys to do this. Again, I'm coming from New York. We don't really get too many community-based events. So I thought that was awesome that they did this thing and the streets were shut down and it was beautiful to see people out. We didn't know anyone. So here I am walking through town with a cowboy hat and everyone's kind of like, who's this guy? But it was cool. It was awesome. It was nothing negative. And so we went in to support Jenny. We went in, and during that conversation, I asked her, I was like, how's business down here? And she said it's growing. She was like, it's a lot different than how it was in previous years, but she believes in it. And so she mentioned to me that the building next door was vacant if we were ever looking to open something. And I told her I was. I was like, I'm not sure what it may be at the moment, but I was like, yeah.
So clarify, Jenny, that's Livy's. She's the owner of Livy's Closet, and she's also on
Main Street.
The chamber, not the chamber.
She's head of Main Street.
Clifton Forge Main Street Association.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jenny.
Yeah. And I believe she's also in the historic, the board, the architectural review board.
Yeah. We're trying to give you props, Jenny. We're just fumbling here. Sorry.
Miss Jenny's awesome. And so we looked into the building initially. I wanted to make it a vinyl store, a record store. I knew that was going to be a thing where, I'm a music guy, so I felt that was my niche. And essentially it was just going to be my office during the day, and I was going to have vinyls playing. And if you wanted to come in and hang out and buy
I'd hang out with that.
Sure. But once we took a tour, we saw that there was a cafe there. So the space is formerly Cafe Museo. Cafe Museo was owned by Judith. Judith was a staple in that community for the years that she was there. She has now passed, unfortunately. But while we were in there, we saw that there was this coffee counter component. I didn't want to take it away from the community if it was there.
Yeah.
So, full transparency, everyone. I'm not a barista. But I figured, let's keep it.
Yeah.
Let's keep it, throw our hats in the ring, and just offer that service as something we would want, because prior to us opening, we were driving to Stanton for coffee. And we would even come down to Covington at times to go to, pardon me, I cannot remember the name. Manic Espresso.
Manic, yeah.
Yeah, so we'd go down to Manic at times. But I like Stanton. I like the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
being able to sit
district.
out downtown, I think that's a great thing that more places should, more small localities should really do that. Stanton does a great thing where every weekend their main street is shut down, no drive-through traffic. And so, even the local cigar shop, they will put, armchairs out in the street, rope them off with a red velvet rope, so you feel special, and they'll put some plants out there, and you can just smoke a cigar and sit in the street and just watch your family go shop and walk up and down the street.
That's an excellent thought and idea. If anybody from Old Town Covington is watching,
yeah,
go ahead.
I absolutely think it would increase the walking score, because then you're not just forced to shop.
Yeah,
you can actually have a day out and see friends and family coming and going, and it's a good energy.
It drives foot traffic, right? And that helps other businesses that are, selling
anything.
Anything,
right?
Right.
Because if
A
kids are
lunch
out,
dude,
they'll want
A
food,
line,
they'll want candy. They'll
yeah,
whatever.
Barnwood Blessing or whoever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a great way to bring your locale out. So once looking at the space, I said, cool, coffee, we'll keep that.
Yeah.
What would make it different from anything else in the space? Because I equally believe in being a disruptor. I think
I couldn't
disruption
tell
is,
that.
I think it leads to the most innovation, right? When
Yeah,
you can
of
disrupt
course.
the space, it challenges everyone.
Well,
Because
there's evolution and there's revolution.
Yes.
You want to get there faster, you need disruptors. You need people that look at things differently and
Yeah.
how to attack a problem, and from a different angle, right?
Yeah.
And I think every business community needs that. So,
And one of the things we heard once we moved to town was a lot of people found Clifton through COVID, and a lot of remote workers relocated. And that's based on the price points that they were able to buy into or rent at, and whatever the case may be.
Right.
So at that moment, I said, I've done co-working. Let's build a co-working aspect into it. And so we added the co-working membership piece. And we're still developing that as we go, because what we've now ran into, which is a good problem to have, the folks that are interested in the co-working aspect of the space, they want more space. So they don't want the individual desk to sit at. They want a private office.
they want a pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're going to start looking for a space that can accommodate that and have a second satellite location.
Yeah.
We're currently looking at one building that's very close to us, and they formerly had a tech business in there, and they've now moved on and gone about, but they've had offices
Yeah.
that were in that building. So I plan to kind of move the needle on that and see if we can create
There-
that.
There's quite a bit of, beside yourself, that's kind of been discussed by some other folks here on the show. Annette Patterson was with us from the Advancement Foundation. That was an idea that kind of percolated there. I don't know if you know Annette.
Yeah. we talked.
There's been a couple other interests. So, but to the point, it hasn't developed. It's still a need, a community need. So not my validation, but you're obviously onto something there that would fit in the community.
I think the biggest thing I will say that I don't think that many people grasp at large. You can have money. Everyone can get money, right? So
Yeah.
you can go to the bank even if you don't want to use your own money to get money.
Mm-hmm.
Money does not equal prosperity of the business, and it does not equal know-how.
Right.
So I think where we're struggling as a community is we have a lot of folks that may invest in things that they're not fully versed on.
Right.
And it might just be a colorful investment topic for the year or a trend that they see somewhere, and you try to repeat that. Everything in co-working, for example, co-working is a very people-based engine. It does not run on your building.
Right.
Your building is irrelevant. People need to like you and trust you to want to rent from you. That's the first thing, because they are tenants. It is the equivalent of renting someone an apartment when you rent them an office. I've done these contracts. I've rented to over 300 different micro businesses in Brooklyn. And then we've done commercial leases for like Starbucks. There's no difference between the two.
Right.
Because if someone really likes you, they'll ask you, hey, if you're giving me this rate right now for a 1-year commitment, I know unless barring I die, I'm still going to have this business in 5 years. I'll commit to 5 years if you lock me in at this rate for this office.
Right.
Now you have that individual there perpetually for as long as you have the lease for the building. And so that requires that trust. That requires faith in the overall concept of the business. There's a co-working company called WeWork. WeWork is massive. They're one of the largest one. They are the largest co-working company in the world, and they have bought up the most real estate everywhere. They're in the red year after year because they have capital. They don't have people, and that's where the attraction comes. So it's the same thing how we view lyrics. We're not baristas. We won't tell you we make the best coffee in the world. We do our best, and we're doing everything at an entry level so the business can develop and figure itself out. I won't commit to a $10,000 coffee machine, espresso machine maker, because I don't have the demand for that. And that's what people don't understand. There has to be a demand for the equipment that you're bringing in. Those equipments are based on turnover. So how hot can they heat up? How quick can they steam something, and how many cups are doing in volume? So the same way I look at that business, where we can incubate a small start and slowly let it figure itself out, I think more investors that are coming into the Allegheny Islands, they have to be willing to play dumb, for a lack of better words. Don't come in feeling that you know it all. Learn your community first. So again, before you do that big upfront investment and feel like the world is your enemy because you need to cover what you just put out, start slow. Start slow. Learn the community. Talk to the people, and that's what we do weekly. We'll bring in different pastries. We'll have them do taste testings. Whoever's in the store at the time, if something shows up, try this. Let me know what you think of it.
But one of the, you mentioned community, and the times that I've been there, and I like to make a habit of coming and visit with you, and bring the wife, and have the opportunity, to family to family kind of to talk. And you've got a few events, I'm watching. You've got a new book, book nook, or however you want to, I don't know what the right term is. You've got a financial planner, coming in to talk to community members. So you've formed not only a business, but like a community hub. And, I'd just like to kind of get your thoughts on that. How does that increase value to your business, but also value to the community?
So if we're being transparent, essentially today, Lyriks is there more so to foster change and have larger discussions than it is to be a for-profit business, transparently. We
risky, but
yeah. And I think if you have the means and you can take care of it, take care of it.
Yeah.
It'll take care of itself in the long run. So where I feel we are today is we're in a space where we're consistently learning. There's a lot of trial and error.
Right.
We're in a community where people are quiet. I'm loud. So, thank you to Facebook also, because that way they can see who makes the post versus thinking it's just the unilateral business. Oh, Peter posted this. So you will see a lot of my thoughts. I'll speak very outwardly, and I want that conversation to lead to more conversation. It's never out of a negative space. It's always a challenging of whatever we're accustomed to. Why are we accustomed to this, and what can we do to try something different?
Right.
Because whatever the old guard said it didn't work. And it didn't work on many different levels. So it's not just Clifton, it's not just Covington, it's a lot of small pockets all across the Blue Ridge, right? You can go up and down from Carolina to Georgia. You'll find all these beautiful small towns with beautiful people, but they're not given the ability to grassroots and build.
And I think that's important. And we've talked about this in some other shows. I mean, there's a ecosystem of businesses here. Essentially, we all have to depend on each other. We've said this in other places. No one is going to save us.
At all.
No one is going to come here and drop some big, box of business on us to save our economy. We have to do that ourselves. And these are the hard conversations that we have to understand that what worked in 20 years ago is not going to work today. Industry has left.
Yes.
We're fortunate that we have a big industry here because that's keeping the machine rolling. But
100%.
In the long run, business owners and the community and elected officials all have to work together to keep this intact and to grow.
Yeah.
My opinion. I mean, everybody is entitled to an opinion. That's my
I wholeheartedly agree with you. I would say, again, we've had so many people that have been here for so many years, and they're proud of that, right? And I value that as well.
Sure.
Because that shows a level of stewardship that's come with being here.
Agreed.
Because it could be completely dilapidated. It could be completely
People
lost.
could abandon it.
Yeah,
and
everyone could have walked away.
Take their money and leave.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't say it's just horrible. And that's why I'm cautiously optimistic about it, because I believe that the right intention has always been around
Sure.
in the midst of things. Those people and you know this from being well traveled and being a businessman, when you have so much happening in your life, you don't have time for the small incremental things,
Sure.
to be honest. And so politics might not have ever been on the ranch owner's purview,
Right.
because he owns a ranch and he has other businesses and he's traveling.
Got to make payroll.
Right.
Got to generate.
But he
new
loves it
leads.
because he
Yeah.
grew up here on the family ranch, so he's still here and he's paying taxes here, but he doesn't care about the politics. So now, as a community, once again, who are under pressure, underserved, from a state level, they have to now select from a finite group of people who they feel are best to lead them. That pool will come with its, plus and minuses.
Right. Goods and
like
bads.
anything in life,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
What's happened is that there's been a lot of trust and it's been given to a lot of people, and we can go back, and these are facts, we can go back and look at every year over year how much money has been allocated to all these small towns. Where is that money gone?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen, I can't talk to one business owner that can say they've been here for 25 years. That's an issue in a very true sense of the word, because then that shows we don't have a storyline. We don't have a pulse of what was. We keep hearing these things, but we don't have anyone we can go to that can say, hey, my mom owned this shop. We're tenured here. We've been here, and we've been supported to stay here by our local government and all these things. I think now you have a lot of business owners that are very strong and are committed to staying. I think Family Treats is one of those. Yeah, right?
Big expansion, doing good, growing and
Yeah.
and very good at marketing, by the way. You've got a great marketing strategy.
And raising their standards too.
Yeah.
And being better than what was just normally accepted.
Sure.
Because far too often when you're in these small towns, someone will dump a piece of ham and some lettuce on a plate.
Quality
and be like,
varies.
right. And so, and that has been accepted, because if that's all you
what we
have, that's what you
yeah.
have.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they're challenging themselves to cater to a larger palate.
Yeah.
When I was in there last, one of the line cooks had even mentioned they were having curry the next day.
Yeah.
I'm Caribbean, so that was.
Well,
It's very few that that I hear someone says outside of tropical spice.
there you go.
Oh yeah, we love tropical spice. We love tropical spice. They're I don't know. They're family at this point. They
Yeah.
support us so much. And Isaiah, their son, he's an amazing kid. He goes to VMI now, and he's a barber. He's probably the most sought after barber in the Highlands right now.
Yeah.
Very real thing. So I think you have those type of business owners, Family Treats, Tropical Spice. You have Five Sides now that are downtown
Right.
Clifton.
But these are non-franchise businesses. These are
Non-franchise.
family-owned and operated businesses, and that's goes back to community, goes back to the values that we have.
And I've
in
said it
this
this
area.
to Ken McFadden before. Most of the businesses in Clifton, and this is with all due respect to their husbands, because I'm sure they're involved financially and because they're dealing with their lives
True.
too. But 90% of the business in Clifton, if not 99%, are all women ran, owned, and operated.
Great, yeah.
That's the face of Clifton Forge. I'm pretty sure we can speak at least 50% of that in Covington as well.
Probably.
Right, because most of the places I run into, ownership is usually the wife,
Sure.
the woman who owns it. I think that speaks a lot about what's happening in our communities, and I think we should champion that and support that,
Absolutely.
because it encourages the next generation of young women coming up to want to do something greater than to just leave, because that's what these kids are given as the outlook is we're from somewhere, it's really small, we're going to go to college and we're going to leave. And for me, I want them to understand, don't let the fact that because things are at a low cost, cheap, or they look rusty or old or whatever, antique-ish, be the thing that scares you away, because to truly chase that American dream that you're after, this is an easier buying point for you.
Sure.
Than if you go to LA, New York, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Those places will not cater for you.
And those are conversations we've had, that what brings people back, boomerang, kids that have, gone to college and ventured out in the world and realized maybe this is not for me. I'm going to go home, or
Yeah.
I'm going to bring my family home. I'm going to raise my kid in this community. We're going to create a family here. We're going to find our faith here. Those are all selling points for our community, and you hit right on that. Even as someone who just came to our
You.
community a year or 2 years ago.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's what we realized right away. We had community. If a package is dropped at our house, my neighbor will let me know there's a package out there. If something's happening, someone will run over.
Yeah,
If the
yeah.
dog runs out of the yard,
Sure.
someone will bring him back.
Sure.
And we have so many stories of that, and it's never a negative.
Yeah.
You're not. I think that's the one thing about this community that I wholeheartedly will use as my selling point to attract more people here, is that you'll rarely hear a no.
Yeah.
You'll rarely hear a no. And I think for all the yeses, people deserve an ROI on that level of hospitality and
ROI.
graciousness. Return on investment.
There we go.
For the
For the non-business folks.
yeah. I think, for all the folks that are still present, that are still there,
Yeah.
the seniors that we see walking up and down on Main Street, making yourself available to them. I always the doors are always open to the cafe for everyone. Any senior that walks in, they're going to get a free cup of coffee. It's me, and it's just what I'm going to do.
Do I classify as a senior yet? I'm close, right?
No.
Okay, all right.
You're still active. You still wear Vans.
That's
so
right.
you're still out here with me.
I'm good, right?
But, I think we have to find a way to tap those folks on the back.
Yeah.
And for what they've done and what they continue to do, and just the stories that they can tell us, it's a lot to learn from. I think Covington and Clifton together, my ideal, and I know this would sound crazy to a lot of people, but if I had my way and I could wave a wand, I would make it one municipality and just marry them in some way, shape, or form.
That is an interesting commentary, and I think there would be a lot of people that would agree with you, and a lot of people that would not agree with you, and that's okay. You probably know we just went through a school merger a couple years ago, and there was a lot of passion associated with that, and I'm not going to rehash it here because people fall on both sides of it, but there is some validity to what you're saying as a unified community versus the city, the town, etc.
Because we're in the Bible Belt, and if we're honest, in this Bible Belt, we have a large imprint of churches.
Mm-hmm.
But within the churches, we have very small denominations
Sure.
that are all spread thin throughout those large bodies of churches. And I feel, everyone is entitled to whatever belief system they're in. We totally respect those. But I feel, again, if you can allocate space to a larger group of people that all are under this one belief system, whether you're a Baptist or evangelical, whatever, let's say there's 5 churches versus 30, right? Now you have a bigger pool of people sitting present for that message. And I think that's how I look at it from a business standpoint as well. If there is a unified goal, a collective agreement on what we are as a functioning body, because the separation is just, in my opinion, it's just ego at this point, and just heritage, maybe just heritage, right? What we know is what we know, but it's what we know until we teach ourselves something new.
I think you bring a perspective that is grounded in where you've been as a person in life, and there's a lot of folks here that, like I said, will agree, and some that won't. I imagine we'll get a lot of comments on that.
And that's healthy, though.
And that's okay, right?
Yeah,
Debate
it's healthy
is
to talk.
Yeah, debate is healthy. So
I don't think people should be afraid to voice them.
no,
themselves.
I don't either. I don't either. Tell me about, where do you see your business, your current business, and where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, I love the 5-year. 5 years from now, Lyriks will be either franchised or just fully operational in at least 20 states from now. That's the goal. And I don't want to go after large markets. I want to find a Clifton and Covington in every state. and put the really cool niche thing in that little market. I think because again, I feel the American dream or the concept of it is dying, and I feel you need to start at the lowest tier to kind of spark that belief system back up. And so I want to go and be the inspiration for the next generation to see a young business operator that may reflect some of the things they see on TV and what's popular and all the things, but just show them like, hey, have a real serious approach to life and equally know it's possible in your community and it doesn't require a lot. So anything that I'm doing right now, I will be totally transparent to a 19 to 28-year-old. You and two of your buddies could have done it. If you live in Clifton right now, you could have opened what I opened. One of you could have had a full-time job and one person could have ran the shop. My wife works remote. I run the shop. If she's there, she'll work remote in the back. She'll come up to the front. My full-time day job is an executive in the music industry. So I'll have moments where I'm kind of checked out and I'm in the shop, and that's where she has my back. But our buy-in point is not so egregious that you can't self-initiate without the assistance of the town or the state. You can. You absolutely can. If you plan to scale, then I would say talk to your local leadership. For me, in 5 years, I would like to challenge all levels of local leadership. And once, and on the business piece, once those things are in places, then I'd probably be interested in politics. Yeah, it's a fun swing.
Yeah.
But I want the greater good for people, and I'm not a perfect human. I've been the human that have made mistakes, that have bumped my head, and I've had to learn a lot of things. I've learned most of the things I know on my own.
Well, if you were used, I use the term, coloring inside the lines. That's typically not the entrepreneur.
Right. Yeah, I'm an off the wall type of guy. Yeah. So I understand it. But I mean well. I want to see the best for everyone. I don't believe money is great. Money is a provisional tool though, right? And that's what the youth aren't being taught right now. They don't understand money is a tool. It's the equivalent of the shovel and the rake. Right. It's a tool, and that's it. And the moment you change what you consider to be the tool of value, if I want to say gold is my tool for the year, then I have a higher, buy-in rate than someone that's using $1, right? Sure. So for me, if you're in these small markets like where we are, I want a teenager to understand you don't have to go get the big box tools. You don't have to go get the bank loan. You can go self-start something, whatever it is. Even if you want to do landscaping.
Whatever it is.
Go borrow your neighbor's
start
mower.
with what you got.
Borrow dad's mower and go to your neighbor and ask them if they want to cut the yard, right? And they'll get a business card printed up. You have great printers that are around. For us in Clifton, we have Bear Mountain signs and Four Moons. So these are two establishments that can do these small provisional things for you at very low cost. And you have a business right then and there. You go to town hall, you figure out what you need to register, and you do it. So I've had these discussions with young people in our town, and they're willing to listen. And that's why we're doing the financial services today, and bringing in more people that can kind of train the ecosystem to learn what they need to be upstanding members of society, rather than just having the days go by.
Waiting on someone to call them for a job.
Yeah.
It's been a fascinating conversation, Peter. I appreciate it. Our next conversation, got to bring, you're the dynamic duo, yes, Peter and Shanice. We got to get her in. I'd love to talk to her about, some of the things that she's been doing as well. Lyriks Cafe is becoming, an anchor in the Clifton Forge, business community, and it just goes beyond business. And I think that's one of the great, things that we've kind of brought out. It's a hub. It's a location that people can come and not only have a cup of coffee and talk about, current events or business or sports, or sports or whatever, right? And it's a powerful tool that can be leveraged to do other things, and that's and we've covered a lot of ground here, and it's been a fascinating conversation. So I want to thank you. I'll give you, last word. The last word.
We're in January 2026, and I would say we have a whole year ahead of us. I would challenge everyone to turn your phones off as much as possible. Stay away from the distractions.
Yeah.
We have a lot of work to do in these communities. Let's focus on that. We have our own issues here, and the world can be very overwhelming at times.
Yeah.
But our world is not that. When we walk outside, we don't see half of the chaos that is happening in the rest of the world in these two communities that we have. So I'd really love for everyone to just stick to Clifton, stick to Covington, and let's focus on making those things better and enjoying our year and seeing it to the end of the year too. That's the main thing. So you guys be safe driving on 220s, please.
Thanks so much for being with us
Thank
today.
you, man.